Hey everyone, it's AYBL Main here. This is my series, AYBL Main's Top 5 series for albums, songs, movies, and the like. I'll be counting down those things, or at least ranking those things as I go along. Please take time to hit the red subscribe button down below. Please leave comments, maybe your top 5 in each particular category. That would be kind of cool. And whether you like or dislike the video. Other than that, guys, let's just sit back and enjoy and plug away at this series. I appreciate it. Hey everyone, it's AYBL Main here. I wanted to jump back in a little bit with one of my top 5 series, and I wanted to do the top 5 Foo Fighter albums of all time, according to my opinion, of course. Recently, I had done a top 10 Foo Fighter songs with JC's Rock and Metal Review. Check out his channel; does a very good job. Him and I got together. We did a top 10 songs of Foo Fighters, and I wanted to do the top 5 albums, so I went ahead and said, "All right, let's get this done." So, jumping right in, number 5 for me is going to be their debut album, which is essentially a solo project for Dave because he just did all the work himself, all the playing of the instruments, just about everything that you can think of. Dave did it for it. So the album's okay, but it's stronger than a lot of the other albums, so that's why I put it here. Has some identity problems, of course, because I think he's kind of holding on to the Nirvana identity a little bit too hard. But Big Me is a big track. I've heard it a number of times. For All the Cows, Alone and Easy Target is probably the best track on here, maybe my favorite track. So it's worth checking out from 1995. From 2007, I've got Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace. Wasn't sure how I felt about this album when I was running a discography to come up with a top 10 singles, but it kind of grew on me just a little bit over time. I got Long Road to Ruin, The Pretender, obviously. Home is probably my favorite track on here. It's a bookend track. I've heard it on so many like television shows, and this always felt like it was like one of those songs you could play like in those types of situations when you were talking about, home. I guess the best way to put it anyway. So it's produced by Gil Norton. This won a Grammy for Best Rock Album, but for some reasons the critics just hated it, which seems to be a repeating motif when we're talking about the Foo Fighters for some reason. And I can't understand. I thought they did a really good job. The number 3 album for me is going to be The Color and the Shape, which is like a lot of people, when I've talked to a lot of people about it, this is like their favorite album. It's from 1997, also produced by Gil Norton. Got a little bit more like the alternative flavor to it. The band was kind of going through a lot of turmoil during this time, a lot of things going on. They still managed to piece together this really, really solid album. Everlong, My Hero, of course everybody knows. Monkey Wrench, probably growing to be my favorite track on here. The fans just really didn't jump on board with the album at first, but then all of a sudden it just became this like cult fave, and then the album sales just increased dramatically as they went. So really good step up for them, and I put it here at number 3. I didn't have it any higher than that. So number 2 for me, this one, this was a great album, but it's not as good as my number 1 for sure. That's why we're here. So I got Nothing Else to Lose from 1999. This is when he started to move his studio. He wanted to get away a little bit, so he moved the studio to Alexandria, Virginia. So I'm from Alexandria, Virginia, which I think is, kind of cool in that regard. So the studio's Studio 606, kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. That's probably why he named it that. I like the song Breakout on here. Learn to Fly is probably my favorite track on here, and probably the most notable. Also, Next Year, I think, was also a track that was released from here as well. Aurora is just a solid, underrated track. Every time I throw it out there for somebody, they go, "I've never heard of it." So it's kind of nice to have an underrated track on here that I really like. Won Best Rock Album and also Best Video for Learn to Fly. So again, critics for some reason just didn't love it. I mean, they didn't hate terribly on this one, but they just didn't love it. So number 1 for me, I think, is an underrated album for them that doesn't get a lot of love at all, and that's Wasting Light from 2011. Butch Vig was the producer on here along with the members of the band. So he has a song on here called Arlandria, which, being from Alexandria, Virginia, I'll tell you, they're right next to Arlington, Virginia. So there is those areas in there in between the two cities, and which, you know, colloquially a lot of people will call that Arlandria, and I thought that was kind of funny. I'm not sure whether that's why he named his track what he did, but I'm telling you that that's probably a weird coincidence otherwise. Very much an alt-rock album. I mean, it kind of really steps away from any type of post-grunge or grunge things that he had going on here. Bridge Burning, actually, a great track. Rope, Walk made my top 10 for songs for Foo Fighters. And These Days also made a top 10 for me. I believe These Days was my #1 track, if I remember right now. So all deserved it, you know. So just a special album. I think everybody should check it out. Again, critics for some reason didn't love on it. But me, as a fan of music in general, I'm telling you right now, that's the underrated album for Foo Fighters. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope you guys are doing well out there. If you get a chance, can you please sub my channel down below? That would be great. Leave some comments. Tell me your top 5 Foo Fighter albums, if you would. Maybe even tell me some of your favorite songs by the Foo Fighters. Until then, hope you guys are doing well, and take it easy.